Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up? It's me, I'm back. I'm on Twitch again, I know. Well done. I'm back. I'm not dead. Not dead. How cool is that? That's pretty epic. Hey guys, it's been I've missed you guys. It's been a long time. Lots has been happening. I've been like, I'm already like, I'm starting to feel just exhaustion from thinking of all the stuff I still need to tell you guys about. But one day I'll tell you guys the story. For now, I have some work I need to do. And I thought, hey, it'd be cool just to, to let people know I'm not dead. To stream some of this new work I have to do. It's fun editor work this time. It's not boring legal work, so that's gonna be cool. And as you may have guessed, yeah, a lot of the work I've been doing lately is boring legal stuff. which, man, I wish I could have streamed that. I so wish I could have. But unfortunately, with legal stuff, you can't really do that, because it's like, I don't know, it's not how to say, appropriate for that kind of stuff. But I really wish I could, because it was a treat, it was entertaining, but one day I'll tell the story. In the meantime, we're going to be working on one final new mechanic today for the game. And when I mean new mechanic, it's not going to be the final mechanic like in the entire game, but it's the final character mechanic. Okay, this is Gabby's last new move I'm going to teach her. Because everything else in the game seems pretty alright so far. You know, we've got the movement, we've got the parkour stuff. It's like a little buggy still, but the foundational blocks are solid. People seem to enjoy them. But the one thing people don't like is the combat. And I acknowledge, yeah, the combat kind of sucks, because it's not fun. It completely halts momentum. It doesn't really mesh well. It's like it's like combat that should be in a different game. And this is something I've known about for a while, and I was like planning to do something about for a while. But there was just so many other things I needed to do first that were more urgent. But most of those are now done, and now I have time to address the combat system. So we're gonna like basically get rid of what I have there currently and make a new system. We're gonna make like a fun aerial type combat, because, well, there's a lot of reasons why I want to do it, which I'll probably get into as we start making it. But it's gonna, like, trust me, it's gonna feel much better. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna start getting to work on that. But before I go into focus mode, I noticed that there's some questions and stuff here. I know I'm like, I haven't changed. I'm still not reading chat. Still the same me. So yeah, sorry guys if this is a bad time. I can't really commit to a set stream schedule right now, because everything's just happening too fast. There's too much going on. But I figured, you know, better to at least do something at some point in the day than not do something. You know what I mean? But yeah, how have I been? I've been okay. Yeah, you're gonna show us how you do your taxes? I actually still need to do my taxes. I started doing them, but then a bunch of other work came up and I had to put them on hold. But I have until October. So at some point before October, I have to actually file my taxes. So that's another thing on the to-do list. After this, the game planned to go from pre-alpha to alpha. Well, here's the thing. So that there's a very fuzzy line between alpha and pre-alpha in my case, because this game is a lot more iterative than most, like, productions. But I would say we kind of are in alpha now, but also not entirely yet. Like, there's still some work we gotta figure out, but it's like, we've got 1 foot in alpha and 1 foot in pre-production still. So I don't know, I guess it depends on when you count alpha as starting. If alpha starts when work that would be considered alpha is being done, even if there's still pre-production happening, then you could say that this is already alpha. But I'd like to think I'm kind of in between at the moment. So I'll show you guys around the game a little bit at the moment. We've got loading screens now. I mean, that's pretty cool. So if I like go, I've updated the level select screen, because there's a lot more new test maps and stuff that's been, a lot of stuff's been happening. I'd like to take through and show you all. This is the best looking one at the moment. This is just like a test that we put together. I think I may have shown this off a few months ago. But you know, the game's looking better than ever. It plays better than ever. It's just, we got a bit more work to do on Gabby's side before we can, like, start the rest of the train going. Oh, dude, Real FD, you're here. Epic. And he's gifting more subs. Dude, it's still the same Real FD. Thanks so much for gifting subs, my guy. I appreciate it. Oh, Bullfrog, good to see you too. I know this... So, a lot of you guys are back. I'm gonna have to... I'll read chat in a second. Here's how the game is looking at the moment. This is just like one of these test maps we put together. Gabby's mechanics are still more or less the same, just a little more refined. I've like fine-tuned the wall run curve and a few other things, and the momentum stuff, just fiddling around with variables. But if we go into, hold on, I'll show you a level with enemies. Thanks again, Real FD, for gifting. I appreciate that a lot. I know I haven't been streaming like as regularly, but I still appreciate that my subs are still around. And it's made this last few months a lot less stressful, to be honest, because it's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. But anyway, we got these enemies. I think last time I streamed, we got these enemies implemented. So yeah, they're not just like balls anymore, you know, like they're not just spheres, like untextured spheres, they're actual like character models now. So this was like 3 months ago, I think, that we did this stuff, which is crazy how much time has gone by. But fighting these enemies is still like not that fun. Like you jump in, you press left click to kick. It's like, it's kind of mid, as the kids say. You know what I mean? It's kind of mid combat. So we're gonna do something else. We're gonna give Gabby like a in-air homing attack. So I've got a plan on how I'm gonna do it. There's some code I can recycle, but well, yeah, I'm guessing that something will go wrong because it always goes wrong every time. Something always goes wrong. So we're gonna figure out what'll go wrong. That's the idea. In my head, it seems simple, but it's probably not going to be. So to start off, I gotta look at my core folder. I think, or it's my characters folder. I have like I've cleaned my folders up a lot, so hopefully finding things should be easier, but I just need to actually remember where I put stuff. Okay, so there's a components folder. I have a component down here called metric. No, not metric, that's not it. There should be one called like melee attack or something like that. It might be a bit further back. Okay, I know it's in here somewhere. There's a melee attack component in here somewhere. Maybe it's in the character. Oh yeah, no, here it is, melee combat. So this is the current component that has all of the logic for like melee combat and stuff. And there's a bit of it that we're gonna reuse. So if we like go into this level, for instance, in the test scene, you'll notice if I go up to like these crates, well, you notice that when I'm like not around anything, if I press mouse click, I'll kick forward. And if I keep mashing mouse, it'll do like the animation combo. But if I am near a designated target, like these crates, you see that I home towards them, right? So what I'm thinking is taking that code and making it into like an aerial homing attack instead. So you jump and then you home in and you have like a cool rebound effect to like something that will not stop your momentum. And I figured like having that in the air would make more sense because typically skilled players, what I want to do, what you want in Project Feline is you want to be in the air a lot because the most skilled people spend a lot of time in the air, jumping between stuff. You don't want to spend time on the ground unless you're sliding down something. So the skilled people, and I know you guys have still been speedrunning this thing, I've been watching, the skilled people will only ever touch the ground to slide, and then we'll spend the rest of the time in the air. And I just spat on my screen. I gotta wipe that off before it leaves a mark. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just a bit excited. Alright, so that's the idea. So I figured it'd be great if the combat also took place in the air, because that's where I want you to be. I don't want you to have to like, oh, there's enemies. I'm gonna like get off the wall now. I'm gonna go on the floor where all the boring stuff happens and just stand still and kick. Like no one wants that. It's mid. It's very mid. That's like a very mid thing to do. But imagine if we go up to like this group of enemies and we jump into the air, do like some kind of, like, now this kind of does work already in a sense, like I can jump and do that kick, but imagine if you like rebounded off them and it preserved that forward momentum. I feel like that would be more Project Feline appropriate, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna try and salvage this old stuff and see what we can do. But first I need to make a component. Make a new blueprint class, make it an actor component, because we're going to plug this actor component into Gabby to give her these new abilities. And we're going to call this homing attack component. Now we're going to make a lot of variables. This is kind of the boring bit, but we're going to make variables. And then we can add some code. I've already written down a list of variables that I want. I'm just going to copy those in. And yeah. Also, hey Bullfrog. I saw your message there. How have I been? I've been extremely busy, sadly. Well, maybe not so sadly, because it means that the game is getting progressed. It just means it's like, it's so consuming that I just don't have time to tell people about it. So I do have a devlog that I've started working on, but I don't expect it'll be ready for another month or so, because there's a lot of other stuff I need to do before, like, that's more urgent than the devlog. But I'm working on one. There's a lot to cover. There's like 8 months worth of stuff that I'm planning to go over in it. And I'm just trying to actually go back and catalog what actually happened, because I haven't really kept track of it. I've just been working, and it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot I did that feature. So I've been going back through my Patreon blog to see what I've been telling my Patrons and making a list of, okay, in this month I did that, in this month I did that, and then I'm gonna turn it into a nice, well-paced video, hopefully. But yeah, that's how I've been okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm back on Twitch for a bit as well. But I can't promise this will be a regular thing. All I know is that I gotta get this feature done. It'd be cool to stream the implementation of this. I don't know, like, because there's other stuff that also I need to work on, which I can't stream. So we'll just see. I can't commit to like a regular schedule yet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just looking for, here we go. So I have a document here on my other screen of the variables that I need. Actually, I'll copy this into a text file and I'll show you guys. So here's a list of variables I've already come up with. See, I'm like 10 parallel universes ahead of what I'm doing in the engine. I've already like thought it all out of how this homing attack will work. Well, at least the variables it'll need. First of all, we're gonna need like an integer to keep track of how many times we can actually perform a homing attack. Also, what is this thing on my chat window? There's like a thing. A hype train. What's a hype train? Guys, I'm a little bit of a boomer here. You're gonna have to help me. What on earth is a hype train? Help me out. What does this mean? Zoomers, help me. What does this mean? It says I received a level 2 hype train. That's cool, but I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Look, okay, look guys, I'm 46, okay? I'm not hip and cool like you guys, you know. I don't know what this is. Hype train is like a high score? Oh, that's cool. Well, thanks guys for being so hyped for me pressing the live button. I appreciate that. You better get hyped for this text file though. Yeah, look at that. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy all these. Like, unfortunately, I can't just copy and paste this into Unreal. I have to like make these into variables, but that's what we shall do. So I'm gonna copy that, make a new, actually, is there a way I can like split my screen? Yeah, hold on. There we go. So we'll make a variable, we'll call it attack count, we'll make that an int. And I've also preemptively written a description of what this will do. So I'll just basically just get that set up. And I'll try to explain what I'm thinking each of these will be. So, actually, you know what? I can show you how this is going to work. I have to dig up an old prototype though, so bear with me 1 second. This was a very old like student project I worked on. Actually, there actually might be a YouTube video of it still on my channel from like before Project Feet. Like, this is one of my old videos. But I can show you because I've programmed something like this before in Unity, except it's going to be different this time because we're using a good engine this time. But if I go to my old channel, well, it's not my old channel, it's my current channel, but it's like an old video. Hold on. Paste that in. So this is actually, oh, it's giving me an ad. That's great. So this was like an old prototype I made way back. 2017, I think this was. And basically, I had this alien character, And the alien character had this type of ability. It also had like a dash move, which we're going to ignore because it's not relevant. But you basically... This is actually, in a weird way, it's like a precursor to Project Feline. Because when I started making this prototype back in 2017, my goal was to make a game that Kid Me would enjoy. And then, because I was making it in Unity, it ended up being buggy as hell, and I dropped it because the gravity was bugging out. And when you get into the point where the gravity's bugging out, it's like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a programmer, so I gave up on it. And then I got really lost and burned out for a while, and then I started Project Feline, which almost has the same goal as this project, which is to like make a game that 6-year-old me would love. All right, so here. Oh, okay, I don't do it there. Hold on. When am I gonna show it? Yeah, I wasn't that good at making videos back then. Yeah, so that's the move, except not as glitchy. So those red targets the character can home in on, and it like rebounds you off them. So that's what we're gonna make, except we're gonna make it in Unreal with Gabby, and not this untextured alien character. But imagine that move with Gabby's wall running and all of Gabby's other moves. Like, you can already imagine it's gonna be so cool. And imagine that the camera doesn't like glitch out whenever you hit one of these things, because that was another bug that I had. But anyway, that's what we're trying to make. That's just to give you an idea. That's the goal. Would you have a choice? Maybe. I think the way I would see it is, when you perform one, it would preserve your forward momentum. Maybe it'll take some of it off just a little bit, but the idea is it doesn't stop you immediately like that version does in my old prototype. Maybe if you're not holding an input down, it might, because I understand that some people might not want that preserved if they want control. Like, if you want to attack something and then you just want to drop down, maybe I have it so that unless you're holding an input forward, it won't preserve it. But if you are holding forward, it'll preserve it to the amount of like the move stick that you're holding forward. I could probably do something like that, but that's more of a finish type. That's like a polish feature. We'll get to that probably at the end. For the moment, though, we just need to get the basics. So we'll add in some variables like an attack count, like how many times, because we need to be able to limit how many times you can do this move. Because the idea is, because it might sound simple, but it's actually like there's a lot of data to keep track of. So for example, like, do you want the player to be able to execute this infinitely? Do you want them to only have it so that when they hit a target, it'll refill the attack count and stuff like that? So that's what a lot of these initial numbers here are for. So the attack count is, it keeps track of the amount of times you've performed a homing attack. And then max attack count, the second variable, keeps track of the maximum amount of times you're allowed to do it. So if attack count exceeds max attack count, then you won't be able to perform them anymore. But if you set these to like negative or 0, then there's no maximum and you can do it forever. So that's something I'd like to be able to configure. And I need to make these I think, yeah, these needs to be instance editable. Maybe not attack count, that doesn't need to be instance editable. Let me just turn down my volume. You need a reminder on how to join the Discord again? Actually, yeah, that's a good question. I think I've even forgotten, but I remember there's something in the, what is it called? In the connections screen. When you go to like your Discord account and go to connections, and if you have your Twitch account connected to your Discord, it should be clear as day, apparently. People told me that you'll see it like instantly when you go to the connections tab. You see like a little thing that says connected servers, and it'll have the what is it called? The Patreon Discord, the Twitch Discord, that's it, yeah. If you need it, I would show you, but unfortunately, it doesn't give me that option on my account. But someone will be able to help you if you get lost. Okay, so every 10 subs is a hype train. Oh, that's good then. That's really good. That's awesome. That's pretty epic. All right, so this next variable here. Actually, wait, I made this. Okay, hold on. Let me add these two in. So, this next one is these next two variables, targets and max targets. So, this is something that I've already kind of done in my previous melee system. But in this one, what you need is that when Gabby's like in the air, she needs to be able to lock on to targets automatically. So this variable is an actor, and we'll make that like an array instead. So it's multiple actors that we can lock onto. Because maybe we want to lock onto like multiple and keep track of multiple ones. Because there might be some reasons to do that. For example, because the way I'm going to detect targets is I'm going to cast a sphere around Gabby as like a radius. And any viable target in that radius will be marked in this. It'll be put into this variable called targets. Max targets will basically cull that list so that we can only keep track of a certain number at a time. Because maybe I only want her to keep track of 3 at a time or 2 at a time. Or maybe I don't want to limit on that, but if we limit it, it may help us because, yes, there might be multiple viable targets, but you need to prioritize them. So you may need, you may prioritize it based on distance for example. Like the closest target is prioritized, but maybe the closest one is off screen. You know, do you want to treat that one with the same level of priority? Or maybe the closest one is behind a barricade, but there's one slightly further away that isn't obstructed. So that's going to be a bit complicated to figure out because we basically need it to reliably target things in a way that you'd expect it to. For example, a bug that already exists in my melee system currently, like if we go to like the play mode, like just with the melee kick homing, is that it doesn't care if there's something in the way. Like if I try and kick some of these over, like if I try and move this, oh, well that didn't quite work. But let's say I'm like standing behind a wall, but there's a cube on the other side. Now that cube is technically in range, but the code doesn't realize that there's a wall in the way, and that's why it'll like glitch me out when I try and kick it, and if there's something obstructing it. So what I'll need to do is have it handle situations like that. So it's like, oh, is there a wall between me and the target? Okay. Ignore that target, pick a different one that isn't obstructed. And if there's no ones that are obstructed, then just don't target anything. So there's stuff like that you have to account for. And the only reason I know to account for this is because I've tried doing this before. And it's like, yeah, there's actually quite a lot. There's a lot to keep track of. So I'm not sure how long this will all take to do. It could take a couple of weeks, but I need to get this done as fast as possible. So I'm going to try my best to make it work, but there's probably still going to be some bugs in it that I'll have to fix later on. So targeting distance, maybe we'll call this max target distance. Make that a float. So this keeps track of how far we can detect targets. Like how far away from Gabby can we target stuff. I also might make a vector, and we'll call this target offset. Or targeting offset, which will determine like, because we need to cast a sphere around Gabby. So to do that, we need to know where Gabby is in the world to cast that radius, but we may want to offset that by a certain amount. Like maybe we want her prioritizing targets that are in front of her and not behind her. So we might move that targeting sphere in front of her a bit. Not by a lot, but maybe a little bit. Or maybe we'll move it up slightly. So we want to have some kind of vector offset so that we can change that. Otherwise, we'd have to hard code that in, which just, you know, like who wants to do that? Like that's not fun. You need to have a nice vector parameter. So we'll call this like offset from character by which targeting trace is performed. That's like kind of roughly what this is. We'll make that instance editable. And we'll also make targeting distance instance editable because we want to be able to configure those. We also then need, and now this is the fun variables, homing speed. So that determines how fast we will home in on a target. We also need homing, and this is to answer that other guy's question, inherit velocity amount, which will determine, it's like a float, right? And that'll determine how much of our velocity we will inherit when we rebound. At least I think that's what that does. Oh, no, okay, no, that's not quite it. That's not for the rebound. I think this is for like, when we perform the ability. Like, when we start homing in on something, do we want our previous momentum to be factored in, or do we want it to overwrite the velocity? So if we set that to 0, it'll act like, we'll jump. Like, let's say we're jumping forward, and then there's a target to our left, and then we hit the homing button. If this variable is set to 1, we'll start homing towards it, but it'll take our previous velocity into account, and if we set it to 0, it'll just redirect instantly, which is kind of how I'm picturing it'll work. It'll be like an instant redirect, but maybe we want to have it. We can have it like configurable, where maybe it takes in our previous momentum into account just a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get this variable to work reliably, but I'll put it in there for the moment as like maybe we can get to doing that. But there is one for rebound, which we'll get to in a bit. Let's add the next one. So this next one is dash launch direction. Because I'm picturing that if let's say there's no target in place. Maybe, like, what should happen? If there's no viable target, what should the attack do? My sensibility tells me to just have her dash forward. Like, not towards anything in particular, but just forward. Which may be a cool move, but we also have that double jump, so I'm not sure if that'll be a good idea or not. But I do have an aerial dash implemented already in another component, which we can copy over to this, which, I don't know, it might be fun, it might not be, but that's something we'll have to see. But this variable will determine the direction you would dash in if there's no viable targets nearby. I'll just finish adding those. What's up next? Rebound. Here we go. Here's the cool one. All right, rebound launch direction. So this will determine the direction we rebound in by default. So we'll make that into a vector. Vector. Killing enemies with direction and magnitude. So we'll make that a vector, and that determines the rebound direction, and then this next one is the velocity amount that we inherit. Actually, that what's it called? The rebound inherit velocity. We'll make that a vector as well, actually, because then we can set it for each X, Y, and Z. We can tell it, do we want to inherit X? Do we want to inherit Y? And we can set those to all different values. So that'll be cool. The next one is rebound cooldown, which is a float, and this will determine after we have rebounded off an enemy, we don't want to be able to like instantly like hit another one, because you'd be able to span the move and it would look very chaotic. So after we rebound off something, we want a bit of a cooldown period, like after like half a second. Then you can input something else and do another attack. Because if we make it instant, it could get very glitchy. Because especially with the targeting, I can imagine that will have some bugs if there's no cooldown. Because it has no chance to like recuperate and check for new targets. So we want to have some rebound there, like a cooldown period for the rebound. This next one, these next ones are all booleans. So the next one is reset. So these are all like the states under which we want to reset the attack. So I'm not sure if I should put this on the component itself or on, yeah, I might not put these on the actual component. I'll put this on Gabby, on Gabby's blueprint, because these are only specific to Gabby. But what these will do, these will basically say, hey, so when Gabby performs an attack, because remember, there's a maximum amount we can perform. If we set that to 1, for example, we can jump in the air, perform a homing attack. And then if we set the max attack to 1, it means we can only do 1. And then we have to land for that count to reset, and then we can perform another attack. Now, there are instances, because that's kind of not good, right? Because that means if we set the max to 1 and we perform an attack, it means that we won't be able to, we won't be able to perform like a combo of attacks, unless we touch the ground first, which kind of ruins the whole flow. But we want to be able to reset that counter under certain conditions. So that's what these booleans are for. So for example, if Gabby performs an attack and then grabs a ledge, do we want to reset that counter? Or if Gabby, and it seems like I've copy-pasted this a few times. Or maybe I just haven't named these right. Yeah, so these haven't been named properly, so let me fix that. So yeah, so these are what these should be called. So this one, for example, like when we rebound off something, do we want to reset that counter and let her do another attack? When we land on the ground, do we want to reset it? Which we would definitely want. If we like do an attack and then start wall running or wall climbing, do we want to reset that counter? And if we like grind on a rail, do we want to reset that counter? I can tell you for most of these cases, yes, we would want that to happen. But I want to make those variables in case for whatever reason we may not want it in a certain state. But these I will add to Gabby's blueprint because these are all very specific to Gabby, except this one, except these two actually, rebound and land. So we'll add those two, but the rest of them are only going to apply to like the wall run ability character, which, you know, if you're thinking about it like systemically, or you know, like how the system is built, you wouldn't want like variables like for an abstract class for stuff that's very specific, for like that only applies to a specific class. So we'll put that on the class itself. So let me copy that variable. So reset on rebound. Copy that over. And we want to make that instance editable. And then there's reset on land. And we're going to set these to true by default. So we're going to compile. Let's set those to true. And I think the rest of this should be good. We'll set a max targeting distance just by default of like, let's say 100. Or, now we'll set that to like 600 by default. Max targets we'll set to 1, just because if we have some of these set at 0 by default, it's just going to be confusing, because if you add it without configuring it for the first time, it won't work if some of these are set to 0. So we'll set some of these to 1, just so that if we drag and drop it on something, it'll work out of the box. And we'll set like a homing speed of 600 by default. Dash launch direct. We'll give that like a default value of, what's forward? Which one's forward? I think it's Y, or no, I think it's X. So we'll set that to like 600. Dash inherent velocity, rebound launch. So we'll give that a Z value of like 600. Maybe 300. Rebound and cooldown, we'll set that to like 0.5 by default. Okay, so we've got some default values now set. So that's going to make things a bit easier. Now we need to actually give some of these variables to Gabby as well, and we'll add this component on while we're here. So yeah, give me a moment. So we need to go to Feline character. So this is where a lot of Gabby's configuration is. It's a big blueprint. So we'll add a new variable here. We'll call this reset on ledge grab. And we'll copy that. And we'll make that instance editable. And reset on wall climb. Because this is like the class that specifies like what the conditions are for everything. So this blueprint is basically what makes Gabby's abilities work together. It doesn't actually make the abilities themselves work, but it basically puts them in context and says, oh, okay, we can't, like, you can only perform a wall run when in the air, or you can only do a dodge wall when you're on the ground, or you can only crouch when you're on the ground, and all of that type of stuff. So this is the blueprint that manages all of it. It has a lot of functions, but this is where we would want to tell it how to use the homing attack for Gabby specifically. If you want to know more about how this has been set up, I think devlog 7 in my series, or I think it's devlog 7, or it could be devlog 9, but I'm pretty sure it's devlog 7. I talk about how I set this up, like why it's set up this way. It's like the individual components are like the ancient Jedi texts, and this actor is like the Jedi Knight that has learned the Jedi text and has incorporated them into his repertoire. So that's sort of how it is. So let me finish copying those, make those editable. Cool. All right, we can close this now. So that's all our variables, but we might put this into a group of some kind, because we want to, just to clean up the categories. So we'll call this, make this category, we'll call this homing attack. Actually, is that what I want to name it as? Yeah, there we go. So now, if I compile that, we can now see if we scroll down, we got some errors. What's this? Get component health. Oh, okay. I think I know what this is about. Or not. Yeah, no, we'll ignore that. That's a different component. We'll fix that later. Oh, then I know, no, I know why that's happening when that doesn't happen when I compile. That was from playtime. That's with the cubes that I kick around. They have an error on them, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, now if I go to the feline character and if I scroll down, I'll just make sure it's saved. I have like all these variable categories, which I've already set up, most of these, like character movements, grinding. So a lot of this is like the momentum properties are actually set here. Like for the momentum, how much acceleration do I want when on the ground? When I'm sliding, how much momentum do I want to gain? Like how slippery do I want to make the movement? Here's the new one, homing attack. So these are the variables I just added. So it's like, do we want to reset this? And we want to make sure these are true, because we do want to reset the attack counter when we do these actions. There's also like more, a lot of it's just the momentum code, like a lot of these variables. Yeah, it's funny, because I'm looking at this, I haven't looked at this in months, so I kind of forget what most of this does. But it's like, wow, there's a lot here, and I don't even remember half of it. But yeah, look at that. Sliding max acceleration. See, that's what makes sliding feel good. If I make that number 0, you guys would hate me. So, luckily I set it to a nice big number. And there's the grinding stuff, like how slippery do I want grinding? All that stuff. So that's pretty cool that it's all just sitting there. Anyway, so we need to add that component. We'll call this, where's homing attack? Actually, we'll give this like a proper like tooltip name. We'll call this blueprint display name. We'll call this like homing attack. Allows character to perform a mid-air homing attack. So yeah, that means then, if I hit save, and then try and add this again, it should, yeah, it's got a nice name now. It's not that weird BP underscore type name. So there we go, homing attack. So now Gabby has these properties, because this is on the Gabby's base class, feline character, which now, like there's a bunch of components here already, like the wall run, the previous melee combat, which we will remove once we implement this new thing. Like health, this is like so that AI can chase her. The ledge grab component, this is like the momentum, this is grinding, and now this is the homing attack. So these are all like self-contained components that give Gabby these properties and these variables. And we can set these individually per character because they're variables, that's pretty cool. But now that we have the variables there, we need to actually tell it to do stuff. So let's, how would I'm just trying to think how I'd go about doing that, where to start. I guess we could use some like states or like just targeting. That would probably be good. So we may be able to copy this from my previous melee because I already have some kind of system in place for that. Actually, should I make the event dispatches now? Because I'll need to have some of those. Oh, sorry, I haven't been checking chat. Oh, hey, B Manny, good to see you. Raycast might be a good way to determine obstruction. Correct. That's what I believe. Well, I hope it'll be a good way. You never really know until you actually implement it, because oftentimes I'll think, yeah, I'll do that way, that makes sense, and then it like doesn't work, and it's like, oh no, my plan has been foiled, and then I have to come up with some other way. But I have a good feeling that Raycast should work. Like it really should. I didn't see why it wouldn't, but you never know with these things. But that's the theory, the game theory. So I'm going to be using a few different casts. We're going to have a sphere cast to just get the target radius, and then we're going to actually raycast to each individual one to determine whether or not it's being obstructed or not. In like line of sight, you know what I mean? That's the idea. Legit had to do a double take when I saw the line. Were raycasts named after you? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, they were. When I was a wee lad, Epic Games approached me and they went like, so we're making our engine Unreal Engine, and we have a line thing. What do you think they should be called? And I told them they should be called raycasts. Why did I pick that name? I don't know, but they seem to, they went with it. They haven't paid me any royalties for that idea, sadly, but I will 100% take the credit that raycasts were indeed named after me, specifically. And raycasts, it only exists in Unreal, okay? No other engine, every other engine is just copying Unreal. They made the OG raycast. Source Quake engine? No, that they didn't have this technology, man. It was all Unreal. That's right. That was the first game engine ever made. It was Unreal. None of this source whatever it's source gold. No, that's what the government wants you to think. That was actually made, Source Gold was actually made 2 years ago. Okay, Unreal is the first ever game engine. That's why it's so good. That's why there's 5 versions of it now. It's pretty epic. So, I'm just trying to think. Because the problem, of course, with recycling code is that a lot of this is extremely context specific. So if you take out one bit, it may not work on its own. So I'm trying to think about what bits could I transplant from here to the new one without it breaking. I think this is what I'm looking, yeah, I think, no, that's not it, that's different. See, okay, because it looks misleading, because it's like, oh, capsule check, that's what you want, right? But that's not quite it. This is actually the bit of radius that applies damage, not the actual thing that, I think this is the thing that sets homing targets. So I think this and this and this, okay, so these 3. It looks like I want these 3. But something looks missing. I don't know. We'll copy those in, and they will not work. These will not work on their own, but it gives us a starting point to work from. But I think to continue, I need to set those, because usually, I think last time I programmed in something, we set up a bunch of event dispatches, and those are actually very, very useful. This will actually allow us to use those variables in Gabby, in Gabby's blueprint to tell us when to reset that counter. So I gotta think, so event dispatches, what they basically do is, when something happens in the code, we can actually like pin other events to it. So it's like when event A happens, also trigger event B, and we can reference that across blueprints. So the Gabby's blueprint can keep track of an event on the homing attack component and say, oh, when we perform homing attack, turn Gabby's hair blonde. Like we could do something like that. only with event dispatches. That's why that is possible. So I gotta think of what events would I need to hook things to? What events take place in the homing attack? Can I think of a few? Let's write some down, because it's good that because all of these events are going to be linked to event dispatches, so we might as well set those up now and then actually code the events. So when we jump, we need to be able to like, here's the general flow. So here's a video. We'll go back to the video reference of what is supposed to happen in this homing attack. Just get a sequence going. So the steps are, you jump. When you jump, when you're in the air like this, an event should occur where you start checking for targets. So we'll do that. We'll write that down. So step 1, check targets. Step 2, we need to pick. I just gotta like see this in slow motion. So once we have found a target, it like starts homing in, and this looks really hilarious with the with the idle animation. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So we gotta check targets. Then once we have found a target, we start pick viable target, because we have to like just get. We'll call this get targets. We can call this choose viable target, because out of all of the targets we get, not all of them might be viable, and we can only home into one at a time. Once we have picked the right one, home in. So we have to like rotate and move, because we want to like rotate the character to face the target, and then we want to actually move it. Step 4 is wait for impact, because it won't do anything until we actually make contact. Like, it'll start homing in, and then nothing else should happen unless we make contact with something. So then when we make contact with it, an event should happen. We have to check, did we make contact with the target? Because here's the thing, we may make contact with something else, right? Like let's say the homing speed is really slow, like way slower than this. It looks really quick on the video, but let's say it's really slow. What'll happen is, like, let's say in between, I'm pointing it, you guys can't see me point. Let's say in between a little alien and the red ball that we're homing in on. Let's say at this particular frame, there is no obstructions. Like, there's a straight line between me and that. There's nothing in the way. I start homing in towards it. But maybe on the way there, a platform just comes out of nowhere and blocks my path. What should happen? Well, if we hit it, we should just make contact and rebound off that, right? But if we actually hit the homing target, well, actually, yeah, it should be the same outcome either way. So never mind. It doesn't actually matter if we hit the actual target or if we hit an obstruction, because we would want to rebound off it all the same. And then when impact, we'll call that rebound, I guess, because no matter what we do, we want to rebound. Then step 6, wait for cooldown. And then 7. No, I think that's it. It's just like cooldown complete, because that's like the only time something can happen. So the steps are: step 1, get targets. Step 2, choose like one of those targets to go in on. Step 3, go in on that target. Step 4 is to, well, actually this and this are like the same step, I think. Would they be? I think well, that's not necessary, actually. Yeah, because step 4, well, step 3 is we start homing in, and then during that, step 4 will happen, which is rebound. And then when rebound happens, it then triggers a cooldown. And then when the cooldown is complete, that'll trigger another event. So these are the key event triggers that we need for this to work. We need these events to happen in this order. And we need other blueprints to be able to keep track of those events and to trigger when things happen. So for example, on Gabby's thing, now that I have those variables, if I go to her homing attack component, you see how I now have well, actually not even on that, hold on. If I go to like the class defaults here on Gabby's parent class, there's now those new variables that I put in. Homing attack, like reset attack on ledge grab, reset attack on wall climb. Actually, is that the same thing I'm trying to explain? Actually, I don't know. I don't think so. But well, okay. Here's the thing, right? When we are doing a homing attack, we don't want Gabby to accidentally wall run on something. Like we don't want her to get interrupted. Like let's say we start homing attack, and then a wall just spawns out of nowhere, or what, you know, whatever reason. Like maybe a cube flies past, and the wall run code is still running to like look for viable walls while we're performing a homing attack. And let's say we start homing in on something, and then we start homing, and then we start wall running. Like that, you might go, wait a minute, I was trying to home in on that thing. Why did it interrupt me? So we want to be able to, with these event dispatchers, we'll be able to tell Gabby's blueprint to turn off things. So for example, when home in event occurs, that event dispatcher is triggered, Gabby can hook into that event dispatcher and say, oh, when homing attack happens, turn off the wall run detection. And then when we rebound, turn it back on. Or when cooldown is complete, turn it back on. Or, you know, when we're homing, turn off input, because we don't want to be able to move. We want it to be able to automatically start homing. Or, you know, when we're performing a... Yeah, like all this stuff. Like, it all has to work in harmony with each other, and that's what event dispatchers will help us do. So, we'll set those... Now that I know which dispatchers we actually need, we can set that up. So... we need to go to the homing attack, we need to go to event dispatchers. And we gotta... This might... I don't know if my face cam's in the way of this, by the way. Maybe I'll move this over to the other side. Unless... Yeah, that might be easier to see, actually. Oh. Yeah, that should be easier to see. So we'll make get on, we'll call on return targets. Events to occur when targets are acquired. Event 2 is on choose target. So the reason I'm calling them on this, on that, like on return target, on choose target, is because what we'll be able to do is we can drag those in and bind events to them. And then we can reference those events. So if, I forgot how do I call these events? Well, basically, yeah, if I compile that, and then if I go to like Gabby, because now that she has that component, we can then go on the homing attack component, and we can go down here and say, oh, what's this? We can bind events now. That's pretty cool. So now we have on return target. Like, these are just the two ones I've added. And then these two it adds by default, so just ignore these bottom two. But these top two, these are the ones I just added in. So on Gabby's thing, we can go, oh, let's trigger something when we return a target. So let's say we jump, and then it starts checking for targets. We can then tell Gabby's blueprint to do something when we get targets. We can print a string saying like, we got it, you know, something like that. So that's, you know, that kind of functionality is something we can do. So we can say, oh, when we have returned targets, trigger event, which is gonna be like the foundation of how this whole thing works, basically. So we're gonna get rid of that for the moment, because I don't have any particular events I need it to do yet. But let's keep going. So we have on choose viable target, and then on home in. So we would use that on Gabby, where it's like on home. Well, maybe we'll call it on start homing. We'll call it that. So on start homing, we can then tell Gabby to say, oh, when we are homing in on something, turn off input, like turn off WASD, turn off jumping, turn off any input that could interrupt this, and just let us home in on that target. you know, stuff like that. Events, and I'll give it a tooltip. To occur when character starts homing towards selected target. Then we'll go on rebound. Events to occur when rebound is started. And actually we'll call that on start rebound, and then when the cooldown is finished, we'll call it on end rebound. That's what we'll call it. That's the one. So we got on return targets, on choose target, maybe we'll call that on select target. A bit more of a cool name. On select target, on start homing rebound, on end rebound. Question is, should I... Because if we don't hit a target, we won't rebound. So we'll add one more. We'll call this on end homing. So add one more. We'll call this on end homing. So that's if that will trigger. We could have that trigger when we start rebounding, like instantly, and we can also have it trigger when there is no rebound event. Because if we home in and then we don't hit anything, we want to still be able to trigger an event that sets the character back to its normal state. So I think those are all the event dispatches we will need, hopefully. So I can close this now. And then we need to assign events to these. We also need to like configure these events that I've pasted in. So we need to add some other variables too. We need to actually have a reference to the character. That'll be a good idea. Let's make that a character. Yeah, I'm in uniform, boys. That's it. I actually haven't worn this in a while, but I figured today I'll wear it today. It's a vibe, you know. Are you guys in uniform? That's the real question. Doesn't matter if I'm in uniform. Everyone has to be in uniform. They rejected the name. Give Raymond money, please. Yeah, I know. That was a bad move. They shouldn't have done that, but they did. Oh well. Looks like there's a few other. There's a few other variables here actually that we might want to put in. Yeah, so I might change the targets. Because here's the question: is how do we determine what is a viable target? We could do it a few ways. We could filter by tag. We could filter by like class. I think maybe I think a tag would be the most appropriate way. So we'll make another variable. We'll call this target tags. What tooltip should I make? Determine. So we'll make that I think a tag is a string, right? So we'll make it an array of strings that we can search for as viable targets. I'll make that instance editable. Because yeah, these bits are not going to work. Obviously, these have been recycled from the other Melee system, so we have to yeah, adjust some of this. So I know where I can replace some of these already. I've like named these slightly differently, but we want to drag in like homing max target distance. Yeah. And then, yeah, there's this variable too, which I'll add in. This variable would determine so that we can tick a box and have it draw debug lines on stuff. We don't want to make that an array. We want that singular. So now, what this will do, it won't look like anything yet, but when we like draw a, oh wait, is that the right variable type? Oh no, it's not the right variable type. Debug trace, that's what we want. So that'll basically act like a flag where we can plug that in, because this is like, with sphere trace and stuff, you can have it where it's like, do we want to like debug draw like the radius on screen so that we can visualize it? And you could hard set this, but I liked having a variable so I can change this on the fly without having to open the blueprint. Then there's the max target distance. Did I set that correctly? Okay, that's been set right. The targeting offset is set right as well. Cool. So we should be able to cast, like this event, we need to actually trigger the event, but this should work when we do trigger it. It's just this next bit is going to be a bit complicated. Call this max target distance. Oh, I'll clean that up a little bit. Compile. And then there's all this stuff. I'm not sure exactly what this was for, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, this is the part where it's like, oh, okay, I've recycled and salvaged stuff, but I gotta recontextualize it to work. So it looks like here, what I was trying to do is, I was trying to do it by class to find targets, which is not a very good way of doing it in retrospect. I don't think that's how I want to do it here. Because this is like, you get all of the hit results. We then want to actually, okay, yeah, let's get rid of that. We're gonna get the hit actors from that cast, and we need to get the tag, which I think is actor has tag. I think that's the, I'm pretty sure that's it. What else is this? Because there's also get tags. I don't know what the difference is between these two. I think we want to do, oh, wait, what did I just do there? Okay, so I think what we want to do is, well, let's compile that first. We want to have our target tags that we're going to set. Actually, I'm not, is that supposed to be a string? Is there like a tag variable type? I actually don't know. Okay, it's called a name, sorry, not a string. So we'll rename that variable to a name data type. I guess that's what they use for tags, I guess. So we'll fix that. And then for each like, tag that we have defined, we will check if the targets that we've selected have it. Oh, so we want to basically do something like, let me move all this out of the way. Move that way over here. So once we have found our, like, we've cast a radius, we've gotten all of the hit actors in that radius, then we got to see, do these have the right, are these tagged what we need them to be? Do these have the tags? Because if they're not tagged, then there's no point in accounting for them, because we don't want to home in on every type of object. Because that's what we could do if we didn't have this tag thing to distinguish. We could have it so that it just picks anything it's colliding with as a homing target, which would get very, very messy. So, you know, that would make like stair railings a target, or like invisible trigger boxes as targets, which won't make any sense. So we need to determine, does it have that tag? So we will loop body, is it the right one? True. That's sort of like the vibe we're after. So yeah, we'll do that. Move that down there. Hell yeah. So once we have, so we're going in, getting the hit result, getting all the actors. Does it have tag? If it does, we gotta then decide if it is in range. Well, actually, this will be a good point where we can actually cast to each one and check if it's obstructed. So that's what we'll do here. So I'll move this out just to keep in case that we need it. But we'll start filling this in with some improv stuff because I have a good feeling I know what should go here. And we'll just put that over here at the moment. Can you make homing attack by creating a path? Well, yeah, that's the idea. So what we're gonna do is, the way that this works, and it's hard to explain because I can't actually show you this yet because it won't compile. But when we're in the air, this is what this multi-sphere trace does. Now, the reason we're using a multi-sphere trace is because we want to return multiple targets. So this is what multi will do. It'll return an array of hits. We can then use those. So I've broken those up. So for each target that we've hit, break that hit result and get the actor that we've touched. And if that actor is tagged right, we can then do something where we can like prioritize a target and then we can like vector move the character towards it or something along those lines. But to do that first, we need to give it an actual target to prioritize. So the next bit here is going to be about prioritization. So we might need to do like a line trace by channel. I think that's what we want. So for each target, we want to cast to each one. That's the idea. So this would go in this for each loop. For each target, we need to determine like a start and end point. So I'm going to copy the... I'm going to copy that. I actually don't know if this will give us... I'll figure this out because I'll need to like see this in action to determine if this is like the right vector information to put in for a start and end. I don't think that's right. Well, I think the start. Well, we'll need some kind of. I think we'll need some kind of offset. Would we need an offset? I'm not sure actually. No, I don't think we will. So I'll just set that as start and then that as the end. But yeah, I think the way I had it, now this isn't the best, I don't think it's the best way to do it, but the way I had it working for my old melee system was that when you did find a target, homing towards, it did set actor location. Now I don't like using set actor location, but in this context, it's like, I think this will work like the best. I don't like it because it's explicitly setting the location of the character. Actually, yeah, we might think of a different way. Now, because I explained why I didn't like this in my devlog about the momentum code. Because it basically explicitly every frame will say, okay, move this vector. Okay, now move this vector. So it's not actually moving it, it's just continuously teleporting it, which I don't like. So I'm gonna see if there's a different way we can move the character without explicitly setting its location. There should be another way of doing it, because the reason this is bad is that it doesn't account for anything else. Like, it'll just move it no matter what. It means that if we... Because this is how the ledge grab code works as well, and that there's issues there too, because it basically means, like, when you start moving, if you then move into an object like a grind rail or like you move into a solid object, it won't care. It'll just keep moving you along the path, and it won't care if you collide with anything, which obviously is gonna cause issues. So I have to. There's got to be a better way of doing that, I feel, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. There should be like a set velocity. However, doing that can also be a bit challenging too, because it can act unreliably. So I'll have to refresh my memory, because it's been a while since I've had to do this stuff, but I'll come up with something. So, now that we've got the line traced by channel. Okay, so I'm going to assume this is the right endpoint, but I honestly have no idea. Actually, no, that's not the right endpoint, but I can figure it out. What we want is actually a lot simpler than this. We just need to get the target, get actor location. That's all we need. We need to cast between us and the target. That's it. We can actually even go a step further. Wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. So we cast a line on hit. So what we need to determine, if there is a hit, we need to break it. And if the... I don't know what a blocking hit is. What is a blocking hit? I don't know. So we need to get... You gotta check if it's equal. We gotta check if like the thing we hit is the actual, the real deal. I think that's what we're gonna need to do at least. Yeah, we do need to do that. So we need to check, did we hit, like is there, because if this is not the same, then it means that there's something blocking. I think that, I want to guess that that's what blocking hit means, but I honestly don't know, so we're not going to risk it. So yeah, hold on, what we'll do is, yeah, that's it. I think that's how we want it. Actually, yeah, you know what? I might put that on top. There we go. It's pretty tidy. I might move this down a bit. So if we have hit the actor correctly and we haven't been obstructed, I'll write a note there for that. If there are no obstructions between owner and target. we'll make that a question. Are there obstructions between the owner and target? That'll be easier for me to remember how that works. So, yeah. So this true means, oh, there are... I think, yeah, there are obstructions. If not, there are no obstructions. So yeah, if we've hit something, and if that actor is our target, yeah, okay, that's how I want it. So if there are no obstructions, this is the part where we wanna, this is like where we would do like the homing. If not, that's the question. So if there are obstructions, what should happen? How do we get it to search for the next target? That's the question I gotta ask now. I guess if there is an obstruction, it just should ignore it. Like, it'll just not do anything. Because then this is on the for loop, so it should cycle and pick one that does. Because, yeah, that's what should happen. So, if it has picked one that isn't obstructed, so now we have a new pool of targets. Because we've culled out the ones that have been covered by something. The only thing left now is targets. It's like unobstructed. And now we need to do another round of culling. Because now we need to determine which one of these is the closest that isn't obstructed. So that's where this might come in. So I'll copy that. Because we need to determine, yeah, the distance. And whatever is closest is going to be the target we pick. That's the idea. So if we, yeah. So now we get them all. No, something's not right here. If it's less than... No, that's not what... No, that's not it. That's not it. We need to... For each target, we need to get its distance. Yeah, hold on. So we need to get distance from owner to the new one. Okay, so the thing I need to figure out now is how do I compare them all? I think I may need to have. I think I need like a local or like a variable, like a temp variable to keep track of it. Although, yeah, I'll make that a variable. We'll call this target distance. Well, no, wait a minute. Because I need to like check if it's less than something. Because I need to compare the distance. Okay, maybe I do need an array. I need to have an array of numbers that checks, that's used to like go, oh, okay, here are our targets. Here's how far away they all are. Which one of those numbers is the lowest? And then whatever has the lowest one, you pick. Just thinking, how do I do that? How did I do that on my old one? Let me check, let me read it. Because on the old melee system, I have to believe I did something like that there. Jump actions, crap. No, that's not it. Yeah, here we go. Home towards target. I feel like, okay, this one, I need to set homing target. Here we go, here we go. So I got the, I did it by class for some reason. Then for each hit, get distance, and if it's less than target distance. Oh, okay, so I was on the right track with this. So the way it works is, there's a variable called target distance, which is only used here. It gets, if it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So I just need to copy what I had there. That actually did the job. One moment. Except, let me copy that again. Oh, hey Tim, good to see you. Welcome back to another live stream. Pretty cool. I'll see you, Bullfrog. Thanks for sticking around, man. Oh, that's right. We're back in the editor, doing more code. Oh, that's why I was confused, because it set this to like a different. Why does it set it to a? Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, I gotta make that a float. There we go. I was a bit bamboozled there. Okay, there, that's what we want. And then we'll make that, we'll just set that here. So how this works is, I'm still not entirely versed on it, but the way this looks is that we have a number called target distance that's set in this one instance. In that for loop, because this happens in the for loop, it goes, get the owner, get the distance between the current target. So let me actually plug that in first. That might be a good idea to actually plug it in. Yeah, maybe I'll rearrange this a wee bit just to make it a bit tidier. But yeah, so the idea is, there we go. So if out of the unobstructed targets, get the distance between us and the target that's being in the current target that's being in the loop. Check how far away that target is. If it's less than this new variable target distance, which by default is going to be set at 0. So if it's less than 0, then set, wait a minute. If it's less than the target distance, which it won't be, because yeah, it won't be less than 0, because it'll be some distance away from it. So then it'll overwrite it with the current distance. So that gives it a reference point of, oh, okay, one of the targets is this distance away. So that gives it some context. I'm not sure about this bit though. I'll cut that out for the moment. And then if it's not less than 0, which means that if there is, I think it means if there's something else that has a greater distance or a lesser distance, it'll reset it, I think. Actually, let me read that. So if the distance between target and ourselves is not less than 0, is not less than, oh no, that's not quite true. If it's not under the old distance from the previous one. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. I think that'll work. I still don't quite fully get it, but I wrote it before. Like, this is code from like me a year ago, and I trust myself from a year ago, so it should work. The question now is actually setting that target. So I might actually just have it. Whatever I put there, I'll just copy. Wherever it is. Yeah. Homing target. So we need to set that. as an actor. So it's the actual viable target. Oh, you got over from work and saw it? Epic. Well, thanks for coming by. How goes the railroad? see, all right. So my mod here, we're both like computer people, all right. But he's more of a handyman guy. So whenever we meet up, he's always telling me about all of the cool manly work he's doing, and I feel secretly jealous because I don't know how to drill things or build things or wire circuitry. Actually, you know what? I do know how to. This is circuitry right here. Isn't that right, Meals? This is basically your job. I'm doing electrical circuitry right now. See all these wires? I basically am an expert. Okay, that's right. All these neat wires. Are the wires at work as neat as this? I hope so. Oh, dude. You can't, well, I mean, okay, so I do have a story, because Meals and I, we go way back. I do have a story about how, like, ages ago, we were in some program together, and he basically taught himself programming. It was pretty cool, actually. And this was back when everyone used Unity. And for those who like know what that means, it's like absolute pain. So, because you know you've got some practice with modeling. I think most of your thing was like modeling and stuff and sculpting, and then you had some project you wanted to do, and like no one. I don't think you could, because I think we had like one programmer in our group that was already busy. So you're like, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. And then you actually did. I remember you had like this VR type demo with like a Google Cardboard, and it was like a maze. I think that was what it was. You'll have to remind me. But yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, Tim, you know a bit of what I'm doing. He could do this. Oh damn, why have I still got errors? Oh, I haven't done this part yet. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. I think this part, is that correct? Let me just double check. I feel like I got something wrong. Okay, no, that is not correct. Yeah, so we want to plug that in there. That's it. That should give us a good, reliable output. Hopefully. Hopefully. Although, I think I could never be an electrician, I think, because, and there's something you would tell me once, Meals. I remember, because you said that electricity was so dangerous because you can't perceive electricity until it's too late. And that kind of spooked me quite a lot, actually, because I remember thinking like, oh yeah, you can't actually see the electricity going through circuitry. And if you can see it, then you're dead. Because that's like, if you perceive it in any way, if you feel it, it's going to kill you. So that's like, because there's no Control Z out of that, because there's no undo out of that, I don't think I could ever do it. It's just too stressful. I couldn't handle it. Oh, Real. Thanks so much, dude, for gifting those subs, man. I appreciate it after all this time. Thanks for coming by. Commander. Hey, good to see you. Man, it's so nostalgic seeing these names again. It's been too long. I've been away too long, guys. I'm sorry. One day I'll tell you. One day I'll tell you the story of what went down. If you are a Patreon, however, or a Twitch sub, as now 5 of you are, thanks to Real FD, you will actually, because I have been writing little blog posts for my patrons and subs. So if you want to like desperately know what's been happening for the last 8 months. And there's a lot's been happening. It's been a big saga, and I'm gonna talk about it in a video soon. But if you want to know now what's been going on, and if you want to get a mug, join my Patreon, and you'll get both. But yeah, it's been. How's the game coming along? Well, luckily, it actually is coming along quite well. There's been a lot of hurdles, a lot of roadblocks, but it is coming along quite well, I will say. Very well. I think what I will say though, I might talk about this more in my video I've got planned, but this year has actually been the most important year for the game. And I know from the outside looking in, it looks like nothing's really been happening, but behind the scenes, we've reached that point where it's like actually, it's like it feels more like a job now, and not in a bad way. It's more like I take it a lot more seriously, which I was always taking it seriously. I was never not taking it seriously, but you know, I don't know how many of you have started your passion project before, but for me, this is the first time where it started off like that. It was like a cool passion project. I was working on it. Well, I think I was working on it like I still had like a part-time job when I started this, and I was like going back and forth between them. But now it feels a lot more like a full-time job. Like there's a lot of business stuff that's been happening behind the scenes, a lot of contracting and legal paperwork and budgeting and having to do like there's let's just say I've had to do a lot more preparation and a lot more planning this year. It's been interesting. It's definitely like there's been some ups and downs, but ultimately I think it's made working on the project much better. Even if I haven't been able to spend as much time in Unreal, but it feels like growth. Like broadly, it's like good growth, and it's gonna mean in the long term things will be better off. So in that sense, I feel very good about things, because I feel like, 2 years ago, let's just say, like about 2 years ago, I still wasn't 100% sure what would happen to this game. I still can't guarantee what will happen, but now I have a extremely clear goal. I have a very explicitly clear goal of what is going to happen, or what I want to happen. I don't know how it'll happen. I'm gonna figure that out, but it feels like I know where the ship needs to dock. I know like that I know what to do basically. Whereas before, I was still experimenting a lot. I was still figuring things out, and I was like, oh, is this fun? Should I try this out? But now I'm like kind of past that. That's why I've said that like this mechanic that I'm working on here is going to be like the last one for Gabby that I add, because I don't really need to experiment anymore. Like I know the vision, I know what it's going to be. This is going to be the last thing I need to add for Gabby's moves, and that should be it. And having that certainty is very nice. It also comes with a lot of responsibility too, but ultimately I do like knowing what the plan is, and not going like, oh well, in 5 months from now, I don't know what'll happen. Like I hated being in that situation of just not knowing. But now I have like a fully made plan. I can't tell you what the plan is, but I do have a plan of exactly what will happen. Basically, it's actually in part thanks to my boy Tim here for like, I think I tweeted this is like a couple weeks ago. I like as a joke tweeted that I wish I had someone like Mike Ehrmantraut to tell me what to do every morning. For those who don't know who Mike is, you're disgraceful. You need to watch, you need to turn off the stream right now. You need to subscribe to Netflix, and you need to watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and then Breaking Bad again, because it's better when you watch it the second time after watching Better Call Saul. And then you need to watch El Camino. You gotta watch all of that, because it's amazing. Don't bother with all this, don't bother with anything else, okay? You don't need to watch any more TV besides that. I'm not much of a TV guy. I don't like a lot of shows, it just doesn't do it for me. But Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad is like, you don't need to watch anything else. Once you've watched those, you have finished television. You have completed it. You have speedran television. That's it. But anyway, the meme was, I think I tweeted like, because Mike always tells people, he's like, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get up. You're gonna, and there's like a lot of scenes where he like just tells people what to do. You're gonna say you woke up. You found her, that's all you know. And I said, man, it'd be so cool if I had someone like that every morning telling me, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get up, you're gonna work on Project Feline. You're gonna make yourself a coffee for the rest of the day. You got it? I need to hear you say it. I need you to hear you say the words. And then my boy Tim took it upon himself to actually start messaging me that every morning. So in part thanks to Tim, I've been pretty on track of him. Like every morning I wake up and I get this like long paragraph message of like, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get up, you're gonna make your coffee, you're gonna work on that damn video game for the rest of the day. You got it? Every morning. So thanks, Tim. Life roadblocks or dev roadblocks? Like both. Kind of like both. In a way, some dev roadblocks are life roadblocks as well. This is most, like a lot of it is like legal and business stuff, which if you want to know the full details, like I've written probably a novel's worth about this on my Patreon blog, because there's so much, like it's a lot to unpack. There's a lot. I like to call it a saga, if you will. There's been a whole saga that's happened this year that I haven't really told anyone about except the Patrons, because it's, you know, it's easy for me to just write it in a Patreon blog, but I do want to make it into a video soon. It's just, there's a lot to go over. So it's going to take me some time to prepare it, and I need to get this feature done first, because if I get this feature done, my level designer can keep working, because it won't make sense for him to keep making levels if Gabby's mechanics aren't finished. So if we add the homing attack in, he can then make levels around that mechanic, which makes sense. It wouldn't make sense to do it without that. So once I have this up and he's now set to go, I'm then going to work on the video. That's the plan. Now, speaking of which, of the homing attack, I need to figure out, it's kind of a bit sidetracked there, I need to figure out what to do next with the feature. So this bit of code, I think, moves it towards the target. Well, actually, yeah, hold on, let me think, because let me check the loop. So we have the trace, it gets all the targets. It then... I might make this into a function. That might make more sense, actually. It checks the targets, gets the tags, traces to each one, checks for obstructions. If there's no obstructions, it then picks the closest one. Okay, that should be it. But I feel like this should really be a function, because then we can have an output. That would make sense. So yeah, I think I might make that into a function. So we'll go function, we'll call this get homing target. Because yeah, it actually would make more sense as a function. Because it's supposed to just output an actor. That's really all we need. The whole purpose of this is to give us a target. That's it. We don't actually need, yeah, we don't need that in the event graph. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, see, Tim, because he's a handyman, he gets up way earlier than me. So I always wake up by the time I get up, I always see it, and it's like, oh, he's thinking about me. That's cool. Or more specifically, Mike Omentrout has got my back. Honestly, though, guys, it's a good show. You guys need to watch it. It's actually helped me a lot because I've had to like do a lot of legal stuff, and I tell you, man, I would not be equipped to do it without Better Call Saul. But seriously, it's great. It's a great show. I could give a whole essay on why I think it's the best thing ever, but it's another time maybe. But yeah, with roadblocks, one thing I will share that I can share at the moment, which I technically have shared this, but no one saw it, because I have a news section on my website now for the game. So if you go to projectfeline.com, you'll see a news tab, and there'll be like, it's sort of like a written, like just news and blog stuff. Like, there's not much there yet. There's only one post. But I'm gonna have like general press type announcements on there, like whenever something significant happens. Some of you, I think a few people did see it. or they would have seen it on Reddit, where I was approved for a grant. So that happened this year. However, it didn't quite go smoothly, let's just say. And I've basically, we basically pulled out of that whole situation. Because I think I did tweet it. Some of you guys did see it. Where, or on the Discord, I think I announced it there too, where we were selected for this grant program. But for many, many reasons, for a lot of reasons, we decided to pull out and get the hell away. So that whole saga there has been what's consumed most of my time for the last like 4 months, is just dealing with that. And that's what when I said earlier about how it feels more like a business, that's kind of what I mean. Is like you really have to think. There's like you know how that meme where it's like there's two wolves inside everyone. For me, those are like the creative me, and then there's like the business me that has to like make rational business choices. So I've had to like lean a lot more into the business persona lately and like deal with stuff like that. Like reading carefully through legal documents, you know, setting up trademarks, like doing all that sort of stuff. Stuff that, yeah, like, I really wish I could stream some of it, but a lot of it is like kind of sensitive. But I'm planning to go into detail about some of it soon in a video. I have told a lot of, like, the whole saga I've, like, told to my Patreons, if you're that curious. But, yeah, it's just been lots of stuff like that, mainly. So, yeah, I guess you could count those as game roadblocks and life roadblocks in a way. I guess it kind of fits into both categories. Because, yeah, a lot of it is to do with the game, but that's basically what my life is. It's just, like, dedicating myself to finishing this thing. So yeah, it's just been kind of pretty wild. Okay, so now that this is a function, we can actually return some values. So we can type a return node. So if we don't, so if there are no targets, we can just return false, return nothing. I might actually move all this down a bit. Oh. And then we can also have a return node here. Actually, no, I don't want one there. We want one here. So what do we want to return? We want to return a homing target. Do we need to output anything else? Maybe we'll output. Yeah, hold on a minute. I'll make a local variable. Because yeah, that variable doesn't need to be referenced in the rest of the code. It only needs to be here. So put that there, we'll make it a local variable. And then we'll make that set. There we go. Nice. All right, so now we may return that number because we may need to use it. So we'll put that there. Actually, it'll make more sense. We just do that, and then we'll plug both of these in here. That'll make more sense. Cool. Alright, and then I gotta make this into a pure function so that it'll just output stuff. At least I think we can do that. I hope we can do that. I hope it doesn't break anything if I do that. I think, yeah, so I might actually just put one more return here. So it'll return nothing if... There we go. It's just, yeah. Okay, that should be good, I think. I just need to like go here and give it a description. So like, get acquires homing target. We'll call this closest. There we go. And then we'll make that pure. I think that should not... Okay, maybe it will break it. I don't know. But the idea is... I'll get rid of all this now, because we don't need that. We can then do one of these. That's that whole node now, it's just this. And we can... When this needs to get used, we can just like input that in and say, oh yeah, get the thing. And that's it. So that's the idea. We just now need to actually put it in context. We should probably also have a boolean of like, are we performing a homing attack? So we'll make that into a bool, because we need to actually determine whether we're already attacking. There we go. So if... Oh yeah, actually as well. I'm just thinking. Yeah, we shouldn't need... Hopefully we don't need that. Oh, actually... Yeah, wait a minute. We'll add one more output just to make things a bit easier. So we'll add a boolean to the return. Call this target acquired. So we'll have that set to false when we don't find one. That might make it a bit easier to use now in this situation. So if attacking and there is a target, so we can put that in. I actually don't know if this will work as a pure function because it has the cast in it, but we'll see. That's how I'd like it to work. That'd be really cool. Actually, no, well, we'll try. I get the feeling this won't work, but we'll try. Now we just need the homing speed. We'll put that in there. And we might also need a reference to character movement. There we go. So that should fix that error. I'm not sure what these variables do, actually. Match location. Oh, I see. All right, yeah, we'll add those. Might as well. Actually, no, wait a minute. Does that make sense? No, we don't need this, I don't think. Yeah, actually we don't need that to be split. We can recombine that and recombine that. Plug that in. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And we will need this plugged in to there. So that's a little simpler now. Very cool. So we'll move that there. Actually, yeah, that looks way cleaner with all that, without all that stuff in the way. All right, if we compile, okay, cool. That is now fixed. Now there's just this whole bit. I'm not sure if this should be part of the, maybe it will be separate. Yeah, why not? Let's just get this out of the way. We can copy this. This will just rotate. So what this part will do, so the top bit is gonna move the character towards the homing target when one is found. This next one is going to actually rotate the character to face the target properly. I'm not sure what this thing is, though. I don't know why I've got homing timer in there. Maybe there's a reason. Not sure. And I don't know what homing direct... Should I add those back in? Yeah, sure, why not? Homing duration, where is that? We might, I'm not sure if this will be necessary, but we'll add it in for the moment. And then compile, cool. Actually, yeah, this whole compile error is solved. Hooray! Is that? That's not it, is it? Homing timer. I feel like this is some necessary variable for this rotation nonsense. So we'll add that back in. Cool, all right. Copy that. I think that should give us the right rotation, hopefully. Move that over. So now, I mean, these are the kind of building blocks of like getting it to perform the action. We'll do the rebound a bit later. I might have to save that for next time, but let's see if we can get these two just working. So we need to get some kind of state going on, like some kind of input triggering going on, where this is like actually working. But to do, first oh yeah, I gotta actually bind these event dispatches. I forgot to do that, so we'll do that. So yeah, we'll add that in quickly, and then we can test if these states actually work. And yeah, that might be, we'll see how we go. So you just gotta make sure that the actual event dispatches are bound to something, otherwise they're completely useless. There we go. we'll put these events in later. These are just empty custom events. And then we can assign dispatches to them. But they're just like blank at the moment. Cool. Thanks, Meals. I'll let you know about that later, but I'm gonna be I've got a lot to do this month, but maybe next month I'll be good for a schedule like that. Cool. Sorry, I got lost track. So start homing, end homing. Yeah, that's it. No, wait a minute. Custom events, end homing. No, that's not it. Did I put it there? Oh no, it's called stop homing. Cool, okay, I'll rename that end homing. There we go. Cool, and then I think there's just 2 more. Start rebound and end rebound. So I just put these at begin play so that they just bound themselves when you start the game. And then what I can do, because normally you would like put in an event here, but I've just put an empty receptacle for a custom event, and then I can move this somewhere else on the graph. So it's like not necessary to make these custom events, but it does let me keep this graph to look, it helps me make it look much neater, which is good, especially in blueprints. So I can then move these somewhere else on the graph and specify what these do. But for the moment, I just put empty receptacle events here. And I type in like end rebound event, and then I can like later on tell it what to do down there. But this will actually bound the dispatches to trigger when they're supposed to. So let me just make sure that's in place. So yeah, these will now, I can now use these in Gabby's blueprint, which I will need to do for the next step. So I'll move these down here for the moment. I'm not sure if I actually need to, I think I might need to put something in a few of these. So for return targets, I will need to, yeah, I actually will need to put something there. I will need to put, because yeah, this event should work, but we need to trigger it at the right point in the sequence. So I gotta figure out how I'll do that. So we want to move, well, when we start homing, because this is gonna be the event we would like to trigger, or return targets maybe is what we want. Actually, these 2 might be unnecessary. We may not even need these 2 now. We'll call this on start targeting, and we'll make another one called on stop targeting. Because yeah, that actually would be more appropriate. So on start targeting, yeah, we'll add these back. So I'm going to trigger these from the character blueprint, and this will like give it the right instructions of what to do. And I can, yeah, hook other events to it. Cool. So to start, we will need... Yeah, I think this might need to be... Yeah, I'll need to make that not a pure function, but I will need an input on this move towards target. And then we'll need a... So that'll go there instead. We'll need to make that function a regular function. I think actually there's something that should be plugged in here. Where's... Oh, there we go. That should be plugged in. So that should... Yeah, okay, that looks good. So now, I need to go to that function, make it not pure. And now when I drag it in, it'll give me an execution pins. So when we start targeting, we wanna do this. I just gotta think for a moment, because this needs to happen repeatedly. Yeah, hold on. I think I have an idea. Oh, wait a minute. You can't make timelines on a component. All right, that'll happen on tick then. So we'll make an event tick. And then we will make... there should be we need another boolean called b is targeting. So that'll be the state for when we are looking for targets. Which we only want to do in the air. So that's why I need to have that as a boolean, because we don't want it always checking, because we won't need to. I just gotta, because maybe there's two variables we need. Like, we need a variable for whether we want it to target and whether it actually is targeting. So we'll call this b target. Call this. So when targeting is true, we want to continuously scan. Well, actually, more specific, yeah. So we want to be continuously scanning. Or, yeah, I think that's how I want it. No, not quite. So start targeting. Yeah, actually, here we go. So we need a branch. We need to check if we are already targeting. So that's why I need two of those booleans. So if it's already targeting, then we don't need to do anything. But if it's not already targeting, we will set it to targeting, and then we'll just do the opposite for stop targeting. And then on the event tick, actually, wait a minute. Do that. We may not need that second variable after all, actually. Yeah, I don't think we'll need that. I'll get rid of that. So if it's targeting, we will then call on start. No, that's not it. If targeting, yeah, we actually want to get that function, get homing target. Which will continuously scan for a target. But there is a problem, because it has outputs, but they don't do anything in this context. This might be tricky. So it gets a homing target. If a target is acquired, because yeah, we'll need to do something with this information here. So if target is acquired, Oh, because we don't want to do... Actually, wait, I don't think we do want to... We don't want to do this continuously, actually. I don't think. We only want to do it when you actually input the button. We don't need this happening all the time. So yeah, never mind. We don't need event tick. But what we do need is start homing. Maybe that's what we need. Or maybe on attack. Best to occur when attack is triggered. So yeah, I think that's what we need. Something like that. Advanced display. And we'll put that in sign. And we'll make an event for it. So this will be like the actual event that gets triggered. That's what I've been missing. So we'll put that at the beginning. Because we got to input attack, and then it should target, acquire the target, start homing, and all that stuff. Happen in one event trigger. So on attack, yeah, we'll move that down. Actually, we'll move all of this down. Oh, not like that. So when we start attacking, we need call on start targeting. And then I think it's that. It's this. I think this is what it needs. I'm not sure if we'll actually need these variables, but we'll keep these in anyway. So on start targeting, it'll start looking for it'll look for a homing beacon. It'll do that cast. When it is true. Oh, let me think. I'm a little rusty, guys. Target acquired. If true, call start. Actually, I'm not sure how we're going to implement all those dispatches yet, but I'll just keep it simple for now. So if true, because we do need something on tick. We need the homing on tick. Yeah, I knew something. We needed something like that. So if it is currently homing, I might need a moment to review this later, but just in the essence of getting something working, we're going to... So it gets the target. If the target is acquired, no, that's not right. Because this needs to fire once somewhere, and then it needs to trigger is homing. That's what it needs to do. And then if is homing is true, then it needs to home, move and rotate. But it needs those inputs from the homing target. So maybe we do need those to be like promoted as variables. Do I thought no, I do have a variable for that already, yeah. So I'll just use those. I don't think I need the distance though, so we'll ignore that one. So set homing target, and then we can then use this here. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the target acquired will be as a result. It'll do that. That should do that. Okay. I have no idea if this will work, but something should give. So it's just about triggering the events now. So I'm gonna need to open Gabby's the player component, like the thing that handles player input. We're gonna need to actually, yeah, you know, what we'll do. There should be an input already for like melee attack input. I don't know, what does that do? Okay, so there is something here. So melee attack. Okay, so we'll change this from the melee thing, and we'll plug in call on start. I think that's the event we want. Let me just check if that's the right one. I think we want call on attack. I think that's what we actually want. Call on attack. Now, you'll notice, the reason I put this here is because input attack, this is part of the character class. There's actually a lot of conditions it checks first. So it means you can't just attack in any context. It means to perform an attack like this, you have to not be crouched, you have to not be... Actually, wait, is that correct? Not falling. I actually don't know about this one. We might unplug that one. You have to be not performing a dodge, which will also, I don't know about that mechanic, we might remove that one too. You also have to be not wall running, not sliding, not grabbing a ledge. So yeah, it means you can't perform an attack while ledge grabbing. So that's what all of this prevents you from doing. And then it'll go, okay, those conditions have been cleared, let us perform the attack. So now if I hit mouse click, it shouldn't do the melee anymore, it should do a homing attack. Oh, actually, no, that won't work because we haven't actually set any designated targets yet. So we need to tag these objects. Let's start with these cubes. I think these should have a tag already, I hope. I hope they do. I actually don't know how to set tags. I forgot how to do it. We'll open the blueprint and see if there's a tag. I haven't used tags in a long time. Oh, no, here we go. We'll call it homing target. I think that's where you add them. Because there's two different places that you can add tags, and I don't know which is the right one. But yeah, that should do it, hopefully. Okay, so now player, we don't actually need this open now, I don't think. We don't need that open either, but oh. And then we need... Actually, I'll unplug one of these other ones. We'll make it so that you have to be in the air to perform this. Now... So yeah, now I need to tell the... I'll give like a default value to those tags, because we already have the variables somewhere. So for the target tags, we'll call it homing target. I think the enemies should also... Actually, yeah, there should be a tag for this already. I swear I already set this up like years ago. Let me open the enemy class. The enemy should be tagged. I swear. Yeah, if I go to actor... Oh. No, there's no tag. I know I set one. There's a tag on something here. I just don't know what. Maybe it's like a blueprint setting. No. Okay. Well, all right. Well, we'll just set it as those cubes for the moment. Oh, thanks so much for redeeming hydrate. I'm out of coffee, so I'll take my water. I feel much better now. Okay. So if I jump and hit mouse click, something should happen. Oh, wait a minute. No, some of the variables are set to 0, so that could be why. I've got to set the homing duration to like, I don't know, 1 or something. I also need to turn on that visualize thingy. Debug draw type. We'll actually see if it's casting that ray cast thing. Actually, we'll change that for duration. So if I jump and click, it should. Okay, it's not. Of course, it's not working. Why would it work? Silly me. Yeah, I knew something would happen. There's something I'm not triggering properly. That's what it is. So when I hit start attacking, I think that's what is that what I plugged in? Yeah, on attack. So when I call on attack, start targeting, and then when start targeting is triggered, is targeting as false or is targeting to true? Oh, I didn't plug that in. Silly. Okay, let's try now. Okay. Wait. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let me turn off the post-processing. It is working, kind of. Okay, it's kind of working. You guys want to see how? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I gotta reload the level. Travel example. So it only works once, but watch this. So if I jump, see, it draws a sphere, but it draws it in the middle of the world. And it only works one time. Okay, so we got something going. Okay, we got something going. Something's working, kind of. All right. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted. Get actor location. Yeah, I feel like that should work, right? It must be in the targeting function. Let me check that. So, I haven't assigned that variable. That's why. So we'll change that to get owner instead. Sorry, my mouse is a little. My left click button is wearing a bit, so sometimes I'll hold it down and it'll like turn the input off and then turn it back on, and it thinks I've double clicked. All right. Okay, now it's actually spawning where we want, but it's only doing it once. So that's okay. We gotta fix that. That's no good. All right. I know I looked a bit dead inside a few minutes ago, but now I'm excited. Okay, because we're seeing some action. But this is the payoff, okay? See, it's like Better Call Saul. These live streams are a slow burn, but there's a massive payoff. You know what I mean? It's not the most fast-paced hijinks in the world, but when it works, it's euphoric. It's amazing. Yeah, actually, I'll just like delete. Like, we don't need that anymore, because just removing that node is going to completely disable the old melee system without me having to like change anything. So that's actually kind of cool. It's all mapped to just this one input. So big win, I'd say. It's like that easy to just turn off the old system. So now I can perform the homing attack once. Brilliant. How do I? Oh yeah, because I need to tell it to reset itself when you land. That's why. That's one thing I didn't do. So we need to go to the feline character, or even better yet, we can actually do it here. So on begin play, we will set some variables. We'll set this character to get owner, get character. cast a character to set this variable. And then we will get character movement. And then we will set that variable. We actually may not need these, but I'll put these in anyway. Because, yeah, I think I need character movement. Because what I'm going to do now is, on character movement, there should be an event dispatcher. Hopefully. It should be like an event landed or something like that. So if I go to character movement and go assign land, maybe it's not, maybe it's character. Oh no, it's like set movement mode. On movement mode. Yeah, there's like an event you can trigger, like when the movement mode is changed, which is what I need. I don't want to set the movement mode, I want to get when the movement mode changes. But there seems to be no event dispatches for it. I do remember using it somewhere though. I just can't remember where. Oh yeah, here we go. Event on movement mode changed. How do I get that? Where is that from? Okay, that's a character class thing. Movement mode changed. There we go. Assign on movement mode change. Oh no, is that it? I think that's it. I hope that's it. Bind. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I want. So this is an event dispatcher that's on the character class. So I'm going to use it to keep track of when. So when the character movement mode is changed, and if the I don't know what if the previous mode get movement mode. I can only set. Why can't I get movement mode? But I want to switch this. So you do like a switch case here and say if the movement mode is landing, or if it was falling. Actually, how did I do it here? Yeah, how did I get this? This is on this other. Oh, it's because it's on the parent class. Okay, that's why. Yeah, okay. I think what I need to do, I need to put it on this thing. So if the new movement mode is falling, how to do? Because I just need to know when the character lands. I do have an event for that somewhere. Oh yeah, event on landed. No, yeah, there we go. What am I doing? Event on landed. It's on one of these things. I don't think I can access it though. It's not a public thing. Yeah, I can't access that event. But okay, I could do it. I could do it on this though. I don't want to do it here, but I'll add a little pin. I'll add an extension here. So we get the melee. Yeah, so I'll remove all this junk. We don't need that. So I need to go to the character itself and say when it lands, get the homing attack, and then if reset home. I think, what did I name the variable? Reset attack on land. That's it. So if that's true, I'll just put this over here for the moment. It's gonna be messy, but it'll do. Sorry, my mouse is... Please work now. There we go. So set count. Set attack count. We only want to do it if we've actually told it to reset on land. So yeah, we'll put that here. That should work. Should work. Let's try. So if I jump at attack, nope. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I didn't want it to work anyway. All right. Well, that didn't do it. Maybe I just don't have the Boolean set to true yet. Yeah. Oh no, I do have it set. Okay. Reset attack count on land. Maybe. Oh, it's because of this. That's why. I'll do that. That's why it wasn't working. But I also do need to set that thing anyway. So on start targeting, well, on attack, I should really put that here. Get attack count. Well, actually, can I copy that from somewhere? Did I already write something like that? Melee combat. I should already have some kind of check for that. For like how many times it's attacked. So evade. Attack. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's it. We'll copy that. And then start attacking. That's the way. Okay, now that should work. Okay, promise me. It should work now. Yes. Okay, it works. Oh, oops, I reloaded the level. So if I hit jump and press the button, it does the thing. It seems to... Okay, yeah, that seems to work. So every time I jump, it spawns one of these big spheres. So if I go near one of those cubes, it may do something. Okay, I guess not. Okay, I need to be able to determine... I need to be able to return a target. Hey, Waz. How do I pronounce that? Waz. That's how you Americans would say it. It's Waz. So I don't know if it's actually getting the target. So I'll need to do like a print and just make sure that it's actually like returning a target. Print string. So I'll put that, put that here. So we will get the homing target name. And we'll also get, well actually, can we append that? We'll get the name and distance. There we go. So I don't know what that'll yield us, but it may give us something. So I'll just turn off some of the post effects so that we can see. So it doesn't seem to be returning, it's like not even printing that string, so it's not even getting to that point. So that's bad. That's not good. It's not even getting here, which means we'll put one here. We'll also put one down here. So yeah, it's not, okay, that's, it's like, it's weird. So it's doing the trace. So I guess it's like not, okay. I guess it would never really reach this point. So it's following this line. Yeah, I think maybe this needs to go at the completed, like needs to go here. It's gonna look messy as hell, but bear with me, I'll clean it up. And I need to unplug that. I think it needs to happen after the loop is finished. Okay, yeah, okay, now it's printing something. Cool. Just ignore those. So it's printing name and distance 0, so it means it's not returning a target yet, but if I jump near this, okay, it's still not returning a target, so the tags might not be working. Or did I set that variable? Did I do that correctly? I don't know. All right, see you, Meals. Thanks for sticking around, man. Did I set the? Yeah, I did. Okay, maybe I haven't set. Maybe the tag hasn't been set right. That has to be it. So I'll open that blueprint again for the target. If I go to actor, tags. Okay, well, yeah, maybe that's not the right one. Hold on, let me Google time. Unreal tags. So there's gameplay tags and actor tags. I think I something like that. I remember that there's 2 different types of tags. I might be using the wrong one. Oh. So this is okay. This is like different. This isn't the kind of tag I'm using. Let me actually check that. Project settings. Do I actually have any gameplay tags? No. I haven't used this system at all, it would seem. Okay, so that's not it. It's not gameplay tags. Maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. I think it's like actor tags is what I'm after, which is like different. So yeah, let me remedy that. It should be, yeah, it should be in this part. Actor has tag. I mean, I thought that would be it, but if I search tag, component has tag. Well, I don't know what that is. Gets tag. Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay. Get tag value. Okay, I don't know what any of those are. But how did I do? I did this a specific way for the old. Let me check how I did it there. Oh no, because I did it like by actor. Like I did like an actor class, and that was like, I don't know. I don't want to do it that way. I might have to, but I don't want to. Oh. Maybe I will. I don't want to do it that way. Okay, I can Google through this. There's a way. Time for my Lord and Savior Matt Wadstein to explain this to me. This guy, absolute saint. His video is very cool. I'm not sure if this is the actual system I want to use though. This looks too complicated. But it's I don't know, maybe this is what I'm looking for? I'm just gonna skim through and see if he like shows. I think this is a little too, hold on, let me just, I just want to see if like, if there's a function I'm using supposed to be for that system. Okay, this is way more complicated than what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't think that's make gameplay. Yeah, that's not it. Yeah, it must be actor tag, right? I would hope. Maybe, I don't know, let's print the actual tags we get. Get tag value. Well, that's not it. Oh no, here we go. Get tags. Yeah, what happens if I... Let's have a look. I just want to see what happens when I do this. Does it actually recognize those tags I put on? Like, and what function do I use to get it to recognize that tag? Okay, okay, it does get, okay, that works. It says the tag name underneath. It says homing target. Okay, okay, okay. So, question now is, how do we like get, I thought this would, I don't know, I thought that would do it. Let's do this. Do tag, and then space, has tag. And then we'll do that. Let's see if that check actually does something. So what it should do is when I walk up to one of these and if I click, okay, it does say true. So it says tag homing target has tag equals true. So it means that it is getting the tags. It's like this function actually does do something. So that is the right function. So it must be something later. So it is getting the tag. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get that debug. Maybe there's an obstruction. Let's see if it actually line traces. Maybe that's what the problem is. So for each target, yeah, it casts. Okay, the ray cast is completely wrong. I think that's why. It's like not casting to the target. That's okay. I thought, yeah, hold on, that should work because it's just. Oh, my bad. That's what it should be doing. I had one extra node in there that shouldn't have been. Okay, let's try again. Okay. This time. Okay, yes, it's do you see that? Hold on. Do you see it? Like, okay, that actually looks how do I make, yeah. See how it's drawing lines to the target? Isn't that cool? Isn't that epic? So it's actually like checking, is there anything in the way? It's still not returning a target though. So it must not, something must be happening. Okay, let me just wait for those to clear. Because it's only showing one line. And then it's like hitting 3, 4, whatever objects. Okay, that's a bit strange. Okay, what's going on? The ceiling. I don't know. I don't think it's the ceiling. Oh, hey, Brown Netch. Good to see you, man. Sorry, I didn't check the chat. Good to see you again. Yes, I'm back on Twitch for a little bit. That's right. Doing some more programming. I'm just trying to think. Because I'm getting this print string a lot. So it looks like there's obstructions of some kind. I think that's what's happening. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll just print obstructed when there's an obstruction. Oh, I don't want to do that. So when I'm at here, if it says name distance 0, it means there's no targets. If I jump near here, okay, so there is an why is there an obstruction? I don't get it. Okay, we'll ignore the obstruction bit for the moment because that seems to not be acting the way I want. So we'll skip this step just to see if like it actually does something after. Because yeah, okay, that theory doesn't seem to work out as I thought it would. So if I jump, Okay, it's picked a target, and it's got the distance. So, target acquisition works. It just doesn't actually home in at all. So I don't know if there's something I can do about that. Let me go to like the melee component. Let me go to Gabby. Change some of the variables. Because she should like start homing in on one. That's the idea. Gabby. So if I go to her, now she has that component, the homing attack. So if I go there, and if I set the max, well, I might set the offset to like be a bit forward. So we'll say like 500. We'll see if that offset actually does work. Okay, the offset works. So now it's going to check in front of me. It has like a bias to go in front of me now. So that's cool. Dash launch direction, dash velocity, rebound. Okay, those don't do anything yet. Rebound cooldown. Homing speed. We'll set that to like double. We'll set it to like really fast. So if I go to, there's gotta be something going on. I think it's in tick, because that should... So if target acquired true, we'll set a print string for when it's homing. I'm not sure if it's ever reaching this step, that's why. So if I hit, oh, oops. Okay, well the event tick, okay, now it's just continuously homing. All right, that's not good. So it's constantly running this. So it's not turning off this state. That's bad. So we'll maybe turn off homing there. Yeah, because it's constantly running that tick, which is not what's supposed to happen. And yeah, it's still doing it. Okay. Well, that target acquired, because I guess it technically is acquiring a target, but it's not acquiring the right target. I gotta check if that is actually returning the right value. So if it returns, and if it's not... Ah, there we go. So if it's not the right tag, we gotta go here. Maybe that'll fix it. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now it's not running the tick anymore. But then if I go near a target, it should run it. Okay, it's not doing. Ah, come on. Okay. So if it doesn't have the tag, it doesn't do the thing. Because what's supposed to happen is if it does have the tag, it should start... It should get the distance, pick the closest one, and then when it's finished, it should then go here and actually do the thing. But then if we go to the event graph, is homing equals true. Okay, maybe I'll turn that off. Okay, yeah. I might have to come back to this later because I have to go. But we got somewhere. We have like the basic targeting kind of working. Nothing will, like it can designate targets. It just can't actually do anything with that info yet. But I have to get this done in like a week or two. So I may stream more of this throughout this week and next week. I'm not sure when, because I have like a few other tasks I need to finish throughout the day that aren't this fun game dev stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that'll all go, but I should probably go take my walk, because it's gonna get dark soon, and I need to... That's right, I've been taking care of myself. I've actually been, like, trying to lose a few kilos. So, I'm gonna go take a walk, and save all of this work. But thanks, guys, for coming to hang out. I appreciate it. I know it was, like, impromptu. I know it was very last minute. But, it is... I appreciate having you guys here. Do I have any art I could stream? I really wish. I so wish I could. But to give you an idea on what I have to do for, like, the next few weeks, just to give you an idea of my to-do list. So my level designer, which, if you guys don't know about him, well, yeah, surprise, I have a level designer now. Pretty cool. We've been working together since January to work on some more levels. However, we've reached a point, because I had him on contract, and our contract's finished, because he's done the work that I asked him to. But he's keen to do more, and I'm keen to have him do more. But I need to write another contract and another brief to guide him on what I need to be doing next. Now we figured out what our level structure needs to be now, and we have an idea on what levels we'll need to make first for the next milestone. I do it myself, but if I have him doing it, it's just gonna make it way quicker, because then while he's doing that stuff, I can then work on other stuff. So he's keen to be involved, but I actually do need to specify exactly what needs doing so that we both know what's going on, and so that I can pay him. So I'm currently in the process of writing his brief of, like, this is the goal, this is, like, how much, like, because he's quoted me for how much he'd charge for it. So I'm working on that. He won't be able to do anything, though, until I finish this mechanic. So that's why I'm working on this now, because for the rest of the level design to make sense, he needs to actually have the homing attack mechanic there so that he can design levels around it. But he can't design levels until this is finished and that he has a contract to... Because I'm not going to not pay him. That'd be stupid. So I'm going to make sure that is set by the book and done. The homing attack's ready. After that's done... Because that'll take a couple weeks to finalize, because I need to have this mechanic working, and I need to have the brief and contract written. Then after that, I need to actually, like, file my taxes, and then after that, I need to work on devlog 35. But there's something else I remember that I'm forgetting that I have to do. I can't remember what it was, but there's something else in there. But I have to. Oh yeah, there's like the devlog 35, and then there's other work surrounding devlog 35 I also have to do, which is all related to the video. So basically, yeah, you can basically count that as one big task. So I have to do the brief, do the homing attack, do devlog 35. Then I can do the next bit on the game and do fun stuff, which will include some art and some illustration and that sort of deal. But that's not going to be until, like, maybe like November or October. Like, that's gonna be a while, because there's just a lot going on. The video, devlog 35, you know, because there's that weird thing now where I'm at a stage where things are happening and the pace is good, but also I've gone 8 months without, like, making a devlog. Well, I mean, technically, I did release one in, like, June or something, or a bit earlier this year, but that was covering work from last year. So all the work I've done this whole year so far hasn't been covered in a devlog, and I'm acutely aware of that. It's just there's been so much happening that I haven't had time to sit down and script it and record it. But I do want to keep in mind, because it's, you know, you could just say, oh yeah, no more devlogs and just keep working on the game, but I do want to keep that up. It won't be as frequent, but I do want to keep the devlogs going, because I think a huge reason on why this game has worked is because of those videos. Those devlogs have helped us get a lot of opportunities, and are also they're really fun to work on too, and it's like a nice way to document everything. So I've been very neglectful of it just because there's been a lot happening, but the plan is that the new one is going to be, like, the one I have in the works is going to be like a more substantial devlog than all of the other ones previously, because there's just so much that happened. But I kind of like that, because it's like a self-contained story, because so much has happened that I can take that arc of development and give you a story about it, like a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas if I'm doing a devlog like, oh, this week I worked on this feature and it's not done yet, buy, like, and subscribe. Like, it's not, you know, like, there's no continuity really, and it only I didn't want to do things that way like forever. I did that earlier when I had just the prototype, but now that there's more happening with a purpose, because a lot of the stuff that happens now doesn't make sense and out of context. Like I might go, oh yeah, I'm working on a homing attack, like and subscribe, and that might be the whole video, but it's not going to make sense. Like you won't be able to actually appreciate why I'm making this feature or why I'm doing all the stuff I did last 8 months without the full context of the development goal and the stage we're in. And that's what I'm hoping to provide in devlog 35. It's just going to be a big undertaking. It's going to take a while to like produce because it's got to go over a lot. But I do like how I'm in a position where I can give people a slice of like development that is really comprehensive. That's going to be the goal for it. But that will be like another month or so away, or maybe longer, depending on how long things take. But the main priority now is homing attack, level designer contract. I have to get those. Those are like urgent. I need to get those done immediately. Then I can work on the video after that and do my taxes and everything. So yeah, so unfortunately, to answer your question, there's no art streams. There's no artwork to do right now, sadly. I really wish there was, but unfortunately there isn't. But when there is, you better make sure to follow the Twitch channel so that you do catch it, because I would like to do some more art streams in the future. If I do have time, maybe. This is a big, massive maybe, because I have thought about, I would like to do just some art streams that aren't Project Feline related, because from time to time I do a bit of sketching, and it's not like related to the game. Maybe, but I'm gonna have a pretty tight, like my work's kind of cut out for me, so I'm gonna be a bit busy. But if I do have a little bit of time, maybe I'll do that. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I might catch you maybe tomorrow, maybe, because I don't know. This work I will have to continue, and if it's cool and fun, and it's not gonna just be me staring at a screen, banging my head, then I will stream it. So make sure you're there, okay? Make sure to follow and subscribe to the Twitch channel and everything so that you don't miss it. I will now take my walk, and I will see you guys next time.